Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on that like button if you like my video. Also click on that notification bell. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am so glad that you are here. Welcome to my course, Find the Right IT Job. This course is designed for people who wants to start their career in IT and they really don't know where to start. Yeah, because IT itself is a huge industry. There are so many different fields in IT. Do you want to be a Linux system administrator or do you want to be a Windows system administrator? Do you want to get into database? Do you want to get into networking, storage, application, SAP, ERP? There are endless number of jobs that are out there and number of fields that are out there. But the problem is, where do you start? And that is why this course is the best course for you to find out where to start. I'm going to help you every step of the way. So let's go and enroll.
Okay, let's take a look. What exactly are we going to learn in this course? What is information technology? Yes, everybody wants to know what is it. A lot of us know, but some of them don't really know exactly the real meaning of information technology. We'll cover that because this is something you really should know if you want to get into IT. Next one is the facts about IT. In this lecture, we will cover what are the different facts, benefits of IT, like how many jobs are out there. We will talk about statistics. Then the next lecture, we will talk about the IT components. Now, IT components, there are so many of them, but the major ones, the basic ones that you should really know before you want to start a job in IT, here we will cover that, and this one is very important for you. Hardware. This is gonna start coming in from the components, so we will talk about what is a hardware and the different jobs of hardware. I really want you to know, if you want to start your career in hardware, a computer hardware I'm talking about, then what is that? And what are the different type of jobs out there, and how you're gonna get those jobs, and whether those jobs are right fit for you or not. So every components and everything from hardware on that I'm gonna cover everything about exactly what that technology is, what happens in that technology, how that technology works, and if it is a good fit for you or not, and what are the different titles of the job, and everything that you need to know. So what is the next one is the operating system. Again, of course, hardware, you will have the operating system on top of it. You need to know what are the different type of operating systems out there. So if you want to pick one and you want to have your job in it, let's say Linux, then you need to know about Linux. But again, you really need to know what are the different flavors, what are your options. Then applications and softwares, and of course, guys, and everybody knows there are millions of applications and software. But how I'm going to cover all that? Well, I am not going to cover all that, of course, but I will cover something that has a value that will get you a good high-paying jobs. So you ready? Let's keep moving on. Next one is networking. Networking is something for those folks who wants to get their hands on to the network side of it, meaning putting the computers together in a network environment, running cables for the network, troubleshooting what's going on. And of course, we'll cover that later. Then we have security. When you have all those components, you want to know security, and believe it or not, security is one of the highest paying jobs nowadays in IT. You should definitely look into it if your main concerns is, of course, to get a good future and make a lot of money, right? Next one, we have storage. Then these are the enterprise level components that we want to talk about. Database. I'm sure you've heard about database like Oracle, SQL. Now, this is also a niche industry. So if you want to pick one and you want to learn that, then you don't have to go around and finding every little courses out there that you should look into this course or that course. Pick one database and go with it. Virtualization technology, new technology, came in a few years ago. It's awesome. It's awesome because you could run many operating systems on top of virtualization technology, and a lot of people nowadays looking for virtualization experts. And believe it or not, the biggest one is right now is VMware, followed by many different ones. So if you, let's say, if you really want to pick VMware, it's a small course you could pick up anywhere in any of the courses website that they offer online courses, or you could take it in class courses and you could learn about that. And this is one of also a shortcut way to get into IT jobs. Cloud is very close to virtualization. Then we'll talk about management jobs. If you are already in IT, we'll talk about what other management jobs are, how you could climb up the ladder, and if that ladder is right for you or not, or you are happy where you are and you're making a lot of money. And then we will talk about the last one. We'll talk about all other IT jobs. There are, of course, many other IT jobs, but I will cover the ones that you hear all the time, and the one that has a future. So basically, guys, this is what we will cover in this course, and I am sure you're ready to take this ride with me, and I'll promise you, you will have a very good understanding of IT at the end of this course, and you will know where you will have to get your job. So you ready? Let's go! What is information technology? That's a very basic question, and everyone should know that. The true meaning of information technology is basically the transfer of information or data from one person to another, from one location to another through technology. What it really means is that you're taking any kind of information and you taking it from one person to another, and it's going from computers through computers. So that technology is the underlying technology. Now let's look at a few common questions that we should ask ourselves about how IT should work. What is it transferring? How is it transferring? Well, it's transferring files, folders, PDFs, images, videos, music, instant messages, emails, the whole bunch of stuff that you have saved in your computer. And once you have saved it, you do share it. And you share it with people, with other locations, and the company to company. And when do you share it? When there is no time limit. You could share it any time during the day. And of course, why do you share it, or why the information is being shared among people, is because the information helps us make decisions, solve problems, it helps us make right planning, and eventually it saves us time, improve our lives, and it saves us money. And how all this happening is through the IT components, and IT components are the ones that we will be covering in the later lessons. Okay, let's talk about facts about information technology. Now, I'm going to go over the statistics, the real numbers that I gathered together, which will tell you whether you have made the right decision or not, whether this IT field is right for you or not. So let's look at a few of them. Now, IT role in our life is very important nowadays. You have information technology or technology gadgets everywhere. You have that in TV, in cars. You do shopping online. You have phone full of technology. Then IT jobs are expected to grow by 22% till 2020. Now remember, guys, we are in 2018, and in 2 years it's going to increase by 22%. 68% of companies are struggling to find qualified IT candidates. What it means that 100% of the companies that we have here, out of those, 68% are still having trouble finding the right person. Many IT professionals are making more than medical professional nowadays. Now this is not just a fact, but it's actually, I have seen with my own eyes that there are IT people who are making way more than physicians and doctors and people who are in medical field. Now, 64% of the companies are investing in IT initiative. Companies that are not in IT, that are manufacturing clothes, building cars, building pianos, making carpets, any kind of companies, they need IT. And out of those, 64% of them are investing in IT. You don't need a high level of education to start in IT. Now, I'm definitely not encouraging those who don't want to go and pursue their bachelor's or master's. I would definitely discourage them. I am just telling people who cannot afford to go to college or who cannot afford to go to for master's degree. You could still get into IT by going through some certifications, some courses, and you gotta gain some experience, and you could enter the IT field. And of course, if you have a bachelor's degree and if you have a master's degree, sky is the limit, and you will succeed in IT field so fast. IT job salary ranges from 40,000 to 400,000. Again, it depends on your experience, your skills, and of course your qualification. As per Bureau of Labor Statistics, in 2016, the median income of a bachelor's degree holder having an entry level job in IT is making above $100,000. A US tech industry worker, now any US tech industry worker, annual wage is above $100,000 as compared to $50,000 of any other worker in any other sector. And the last one is in US. In 2015, the jobs that were outsourced, the IT jobs that were outsourced, were over 2 million. Now, guys, that's definitely something wrong here. It means we don't have the right people. So we are spending our time in different fields. Not that there is anything wrong with other fields, but if you have a field that is growing so fast, so rapidly, and companies can't find people to fulfill those jobs, then what? Ask yourself, are you making the right decision by getting into the right field? I would say yes. Here we will look at the components of IT. It will be a quick list, and then of course we will be covering every little components in the later lessons. The major IT components are, the first one is the hardware. Now hardware is basically the first piece of computers. It's a piece of brick, it's a plastic, it's a tower where you install the operating system on top of it. Then of course the second one is the operating system. Operating system tells the hardware what to do. The applications and software which runs on top of the operating system, and it uses the operating system to tell the hardware what to do. Then you have networking, which actually is a way to communicate all the computers together. Security, when you have all those major IT components together and they are sending and sharing information together, you do need some kind of security. Then we have on the right side enterprise level components. In the enterprise level components, we have the first one is the storage. Now, of course, you might not need the storage on the major IT components because some of the major IT components are usually at the home or residential level. But at the enterprise level, people or companies do have large storage where they store the information. Then the second one at the enterprise level, we have the database. Then we have a virtualization technology, and the last one we have a cloud technology. We will cover each of these components one by one in the later lessons, and we will tell you that which job it corresponds to, what type of job titles you should look for in these technologies. Here we will talk about the computer hardware. Now, this is the basic and first piece of information technology. Hardware is nothing but a plastic or a brick that is running underneath the operating system. You need different type of hardware that combine together in a box and they work together. But of course, they need some kind of operating system to make them work. But before we get to the operating system, let's talk about what is inside of this piece of box, this equipment. Now, there are many different type of hardware that we'll talk right after this. So let's open up this computer and see what's inside. So the first part of the hardware is the motherboard. Motherboard, it's where all the little pieces, all the little circuits and memory and CPU and all the circuits are residing. It has RAM, which is random access memory. In regular term, we call it memory. When you go buy a computer, you will look for a memory because memory is something that holds your information temporarily while you opening up a program. Then you have CPU. CPU just works like a human brain. It does the computation, it does the calculation for you. And then you have a chipset which also sits on top of the motherboard. Then you have a hard drive inside of a hardware where you store all the information. It stays there even when you turn off your computer. Then you have a fan. The purpose of the fan in the hardware is to keep all those little devices inside of your hardware to keep it cool. Computer hardware jobs. Here we will cover all the different type of jobs that are being offered under this field, the hardware field. So if you have decided that this is the right field for you, then you definitely need to know what are the titles that you need to search for. Let's look at them one by one and what exactly they do. Okay, the first one we have is a computer and information research scientist. These are the people who actually spend a lot of time doing the research to find out what makes the perfect computer, what kind of RAM, what kind of CPU, and what kind of hard drive, combining that together, that will make it work. Then we have electrical engineers. These people are the one who actually study engineering in electrical, and they are the one who are putting the computer together. They are the one who is building the circuits, testing the circuits. You could find these jobs if you have electrical engineering electrical engineering degree. You could get these jobs in the companies that we covered in the last slide. Next one we have is the programmers. Programmers are the people who know programming language such as C, C++, and many other languages that do need to put into the computer BIOS system or boot system when the first time computer boots up. Now, regardless of the computer has an operating system or not, it still has some kind of a smaller level operating system that every time you boot up the computer. I'm sure you remember when you actually turn on your computer, if your computer manufacturer is Dell, you will see the Dell logo coming up, and it goes through some memory testing, some CPU testing. It goes through a bunch of steps. So those steps are being put together by the programmers. If you like programming, you should look into the programming jobs. Then we have a computer assembly technician. These are the people who actually work in the companies at the assembly line, putting together the computers. The computer rolls on the assembly belt. They put the computer parts depending on which position they are on. Then the computer technicians. The computer technicians and the hardware technicians are pretty much the same role. What they do, they actually fix laptops, hardware, or any servers. If your computer is down, they'll come in and they fix the computer. If your keyboard is broken, if your computer crashed, they're the one who will fix it. You could also call many technicians, for example, Best Buy. They have the Geek Squad. Those people are the computer technicians or hardware technicians. They will come and fix it. Now, IT help desk. Now, IT help desk is the job that you will find at an enterprise level. You get into the company. Every company has a IT help desk. You provide support, and they have 24-hour support. Your support, depending on which support shift you will get the calls from the customers who will ask you to help fix the issue. And it could be any issue related to the hardware as well as somewhat of operating system. PC support, again, this is a first level support. This is very much similar to computer technicians or hardware technician. Then the data center technicians. Data center technicians are those people who are actually sitting at the data center where all the servers are racked, and they are the one who are actually, if there is an issue with the computer, they will go in and replace the memory, replace the CPU, pull up the server, open the top, and replace the PSU or any device inside the computer. Then we'll talk about computer or IT specialists. These are the second level support of a PC support. So what they do, they pretty much, when an issue is escalated from the PC support, they're the one who handle it. They also work with hardware very closely, as well as they work with the operating system. So all these jobs, if you are into the hardware of the computers, you should look into these jobs. And how you're gonna get on that track is by taking courses. For example, one of the courses A plus, and there are help desks. You could also get into the internship to learn more about these things, computer hardwares. I hope you guys this will help you if you want to get into the hardware jobs. These are the exact same titles you should look for. I will encourage you to go in and, for example, pick a career website, put in one of these titles, and look for their job description. If that's something that fits you, then you will get into that position. Operating systems. In this lecture, we will cover about what is operating system, who builds these operating systems, what are the different companies of operating system, and what type of operating systems jobs are out there. So what is an operating system? An operating system is the most important program that runs on your computer. Operating systems tells the hardware what to do. It is the one that performs the basic tasks such as recognizing input from the keyboard, sending output to the display screen, keeping track of files and directories on the disk, and controlling peripheral devices such as disks, drives, and printers. Think of operating system in a way as a comparison of a human body and the spirit. So human body is the hardware. It has no use, it won't function until we have the spirit inside of it. This is the one that tells us what to do. We are the ones sending signals to our fingers. We are the ones sending signals to our arms to move, head to shift. The same way operating system tells the hardware what to do. When you are typing a document and then you go to file and click on print, it sends, the operating system takes that command and sends it to the hardware and tell it to print it. Here I want to talk about the operating tools and jobs. Now, of course, there are many tools that are specifically designed for certain tasks within the operating system, and those tools are very huge, and that actually makes other jobs to have dedicated jobs for only for those tools. Let's look at them. Some of them like Microsoft Active Directory. This is the kind of tools that deals with users and groups. Domain name system, Microsoft Exchange system, Red Hat Satellite, Solaris Jumpstart, Microsoft Windows servers, update services. These are the tools sometimes are required to have when you're looking for an operating system jobs. But sometimes some companies are looking for dedicated people into the who have specialization in that tools. So you could of course get into specific jobs who require only that type of expertise. And what type of job titles you're going to get into is, let's say, Active Directory Administrator or DNS Administrator, or the name of the tool, whichever the tool that you're spending your time in, and followed by the administrator or the engineer. This is one of the also easiest way to get into IT, because if you don't want to spend a lot of time learning too much about operating system or too much about hardware, because it's a vast field and you just want to pick one specific piece of a technology, you could pick that one of those OS tools and learn about it. However, there are pros and cons. Pros, that you will be more specific to one field and it's easier to learn and faster to learn. Con is that you're gonna have a lot less jobs. Your opportunities is gonna come down. Applications and software. In this lesson, I will cover the difference between the application and software, how those applications are built, what are the different type of languages that are used to build those applications, what are the different tools, and what are the job titles that correspond to those tasks, those programming languages, and of course what are the different software that's already been built and that many people, many big companies are working on them. So let's start with the difference between application and software. Well, operating system, the piece that we covered earlier, is basically just a software. It is not an application, but it is still a software because it is written in C, C++, or whichever the language people prefer. Whereas an application is also a software as well, but it runs on top of an operating system. So most of the time, an application is when you start an operating system, you start your computer, the operating system comes up, and that's when you start your application. Now, what is the importance of application? Application is very important for any user, because when you turn on the computer, you're only turning on the computer because you want to use an application. What are the examples of PC applications? Some of them are Microsoft Office, which you should be using or been using for a while, and those are Excel, Word, PowerPoint. Some of them are basic like games, Paint, Calculator, and Internet Explorer, which is a web browser, or Firefox, whichever you prefer, and some of the smartphone apps that you use on an everyday basis. Then some of the example of enterprise level or server level applications are like ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, Customer Relation Manager, server applications like Active Directory, Database, DNS, NTP. All of those tools or softwares are actually built on top of an operating system. An example on the right side, you'll see like Adobe, Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, Microsoft Outlook. All these are the examples of PC applications. And the phone applications, we have ton of phone applications that we use on everyday life. Okay, here we're going to talk about actually those people who are the users of the applications that are built by developers. So let's take the example of, let's say, Microsoft Word. Now, maybe a company who's only looking for someone who is very proficient in Microsoft Word. They don't really care if you have experience of building Microsoft Word or not. They just wanted to know who you are. You have a very extensive experience in Microsoft Word. So there are applications that are out there that's been built, and they are looking someone who has specific expertise in that application or software. So let's look at them. Alright, here's a list of application tools first of all. So the application tools are automated billing system, payment processing, email marketing system, content management, call center, customer relationship management, enterprise resource planning, business intelligence, HR management, enterprise language, and enterprise application integration, enterprise search, messaging and collaboration system, and data entry system. So all those are different technologies that are built for the business. So let's say if you in your HR department, maybe you need a tool to do the payroll management. So there are tools that like that are already built, and companies have invested a ton of money and ton of hours, ton of workforce to build that tool for you. So as an example of HR management, you could think of like a PeopleSoft. PeopleSoft is a software, an application that you could buy from those third-party people, and you could run in your business environment to manage your HR activities. Some of them are Microsoft Office, ERP systems, SAP systems, PeopleSoft, Cognos, that's a reporting, forests and trees. So these are a few examples of those major applications. There are a lot of people who only focus on these applications. They learn these software, how to use them, not to develop them, but how to use them. And these are very complicated applications. These require a lot of work. And that's why the companies are looking for people who only have worked on these applications and who could spend most of the time working on this specific area. And those type of jobs are, of course, like Microsoft engineer or administrator, PeopleSoft architect, Cognos architect, Forest and Trees analyst, SAP analyst. So any of those major applications that we have, followed by the engineer or administrators. In this lesson, we will learn about database, how database works, what are the different technologies of database, the different types of database, and the companies who actually build those databases. And of course, at the end, what are the different type of jobs that you could have in database technology. So again, what is database? A database is an organized, structured collection of data. It's basically you put your information in a file and you save it. You could open the file and retrieve that information. But what if you want to put everything together about a person, social security, name, last name, date of birth? Sometimes looking for that information is very cumbersome. It could take a lot of time. So that's why the database technology was invented, and of course it is mostly used at an enterprise level. What is database management system? A DBMS system is a software for creating and managing database. It provides users and programmers with systematic way to create, retrieve, update, and manage data. So basically it's just a piece of software, just like any software, but what it does, it allows you to manage your data. And of course it manages your data so proficiently. What are the different types of database? There are centralized database and there are distributed database. And the database configuration, it could be a local configuration or it could be external, meaning you could run a local database within your computer, or you could have an application running on your computer which connects to an external database, meaning there are also other computers that only runs the database software. And again, what that software is, it's a database management system. And we'll talk about the software later. Alright, let's look at the database jobs and the different job titles that deal with the database systems software. The first one is data entry specialist. These are the type of people who actually take the information, take the data, and input to the database software. Now, many times, an intern or students right out of college do find that type of job very easy, and then eventually they build a career into the database administration. Of course, the database administration are the people who actually download, install, build, configure, manage, and troubleshoot the database system. Again, what is the database system? It's nothing but a software that is built to manage the data. Database engineer who design them, the architect who actually deals with the data center level, a higher level, enterprise level when the data center is being built. Database developers are the ones who actually build the software of the database. Now, please keep in mind, these are not those people who install the database or configure the database. These are the people who are actually the developers, who uses the programming languages to build the database software. Then you have Oracle, SQL, and Formix administrator, meaning any database system that you pick, most likely you're going to find the job in that field. And people are looking for like SQL administrator or Oracle administrator. Most of the time, they want that type of people who have experience only in that field. And then you have a HANA consultant. HANA is also one of the newest databases that are out in the market. It does have a lot of opportunities nowadays. And of course, if you wanted to spend time, you could always look into the courses that teaches you how that you could learn these databases technologies. Virtualization and cloud technologies. In this lesson, we will learn what is virtualization and what is cloud technologies, and what are the different companies who actually deal with and build virtualization technologies, and also what are the different type of jobs that are out there and which ones are the right fit for you. Now let's start off with virtualization. What is virtualization? Virtualization is a technology that transforms hardware into software. It allows you to run multiple operating systems as a virtual machines on a single computer. Now, virtual machines is just a regular machine, regular server, but it's called virtual. Virtual machines share hardware resources like memory, CPU, network, and many other resources within a computer. If you look at this picture on the left side, you'll see it's a traditional desktop or laptop. The gray box at the bottom is a hardware, and on top of it, the blue one is the operating system that runs on top of the hardware. And then the brown one are the applications that you running in the operating system. Now, of course, you could run multiple applications on a single operating system. However, you cannot run multiple operating systems on a single hardware. Now, with virtualization technology, it is possible. On the right hand side, you will see a single piece of hardware and it has a VMware operating system running on it. Now, when VMware operating system allows you to run or install multiple operating system on top of it, and then of course each operating system could have its own dedicated applications. Now, they all share the same resources from one hardware. Now, what's the purpose of having VMware? Is because many times enterprise companies, they found out that sometimes it's a waste of resources to run just one operating system for one application. Or it's not possible to run multiple applications on a same operating system. So this was the dilemma back in the days, and then the virtualization companies, the technology was born, and they allowed the multiple operating systems to run on the same single hardware. Here we're going to have a list of all the jobs that are specific to the virtualization and cloud technologies. The first one is VMware Administrator. Now, this is one of the very fast growing jobs out there. If you just go into any search engine for the job search and you just type VMware, you're probably going to see tons and tons of jobs out there. Now, if you are a GUI person, meaning if you prefer graphical interface technologies over command line, then I would definitely prefer you to go with VMware, because VMware is mostly graphical. So you could actually build virtual machines, you could build clusters, you could build data centers. Everything will be graphically displayed. So if you want to spend some time on this, there are tons of courses on many of the course websites, and you can look into it. Then we have engineers, just like VMware administrators. We have always engineers about those technologies. We have field engineers. Then we have Amazon administrators and our cloud administrators. Those are the people who actually deal with the transition of virtualization technology to the cloud, or also bare metal physical systems to the cloud. Now, a lot of those people are in demand nowadays because companies are looking for people who could actually help them migrate their systems to the virtualized cloud. Then we have VMware Cloud. Now, of course, just like Amazon has its cloud, VMware also has its cloud technology. Then, of course, we have Azure, which is also a cloud technology from Microsoft. All right, let's talk about enterprise level IT components. So, all the components that we have talked about are the basic and the primary requirement of any of the IT infrastructure. Now, we will look into the enterprise level components that are being used at the company at the enterprise level. And those are storage. Now, what that storage means, actually, you do have a storage or hard drive that comes with your computer. But at a bigger companies, they use external storage, and those storage are huge, big storage shelves combined with thousands of disks, and they have RAID configuration to it. That makes the storage, and that makes a completely separate group of people who actually manage them. Then you have database, and database is a structured way of putting the information together, and we'll talk about that later. Then you have virtualization. I understand that virtualization is not heavily used at a personal level. You do have a lot of people I know that use Oracle VirtualBox, which allows them to run multiple operating systems on their laptop, which is amazing, I would say. But at enterprise level, the virtualization has to be at the enterprise technology level, where you have to actually pay for it, you have to license it, and we'll talk about that virtualization technology later. And then we have a cloud. You probably have heard nowadays a lot about cloud, and we will cover the cloud. And of course, all these components, the meaning of them, how they work, and what are the different jobs, and whether those jobs are the right fit for you, will cover in the later slides. Of course, there are many other jobs in IT, and many different titles that revolves around the same IT jobs. So some of them that I will cover that are specific to other areas of IT. So let's look at them one by one. The first one, we have the project manager. Now, project manager is something who spend most of his or her time in meetings, and the person who's dealing with different department and who will be taking care of your project. So an example, if you wanted to build a new system. Now, building a new system is not easy as bringing the server into your data center and install it. It's actually a combination of tasks. So first you would have to get in touch with the install people who could install the servers in your data center. Or if you are a storage guy and then you are dealing with the project manager related jobs, then if you are bringing a new storage servers, new storage shelves in your environment, you have to talk to project manager, who is going to be performing duties like a coordinator, who will coordinate every aspect of the project. So this is also one of the good jobs that I would prefer who wants to get into a lot of paperwork, a lot of meetings, and a little less technical work. Then we have quality assurance. Now, quality assurance is something that most of the people perform on a system, on an application when it's built to test how it is built. Now, there are a lot of tools on quality assurance. If you look it up, you'll find a lot of tools. Now, many people have found many jobs just specifically in quality assurance field. Then you have technical writers. If you are good in writing and if you have written some books or written many reports in college and you feel like writing is something your forte and you should go into this, I tell you that there are jobs in IT that require technical skills to write. Because every time a product is built or a software is built, um, there is a requirement to create a manual. So the technical writers are the one who are involved in writing those manuals. Then you have technical trainers. After writing the technical documentations, there's a need for technical trainers who could go out there and teach other people about the new product. Or if the product already exists, then probably provide a refresher. Then your data center migration person who only deals with data center migration from one location to another. Project related consultant, what it means is there are consultant who only gonna work on a specific projects and then they move on. They are not a full-time employees. They work on specific projects and they move on. Technical account manager, this type of job is mostly suitable for those people who have spent a few years in administration work, engineering work, and then they actually go to a company who actually provides services to their clients. As an example, I could tell you Microsoft probably have a lot of TAMs, technical account manager. What they do is they have a group of companies that they deal with. If they have any issues or if they wanted to buy a new product, they only help those companies. Same way if you are in a storage area, if you are in a database and you wanted to have a TAM with Oracle, Oracle could provide you that person who could only deal with your issues. Then pre-sales product engineers, these are the type of people who actually go along with salespeople to sell the product. They have a lot more information about a specific product. Sales managers are someone who know a little about that technology they are selling, but they have more expertise about sales. Then monitoring tools administrators. Now there are tools that are out there that monitors your systems. So all the components that we talked about earlier, those components need to be monitored as well. What happens if your database goes down? What happens if your systems or your network goes down? Then you need some kind of monitoring applications that will monitor your components. Some of those examples that I have listed here is Splunk, Sitescope, Xenos, Nagios, Spiceworks, and there are many, many more. So if you wanted to be specific in one monitoring tool, there is a chance that you will get a job in that specific monitoring tool. But please remember, if you're gonna spend only your time learning, let's say Splunk or Sitescope, then there will be a less opportunities or less jobs are out there for you. Then OpenStack engineer and administrator. Automation engineers, automation is the tool to automate the building of your system or managing your system. Some of them are Chef, Puppet, Ansible, Kickstart, Jumpstart, WSUS Server. And the last one, and of course not the least, the backup technology engineers, people who only work with backups Of course, when you have so many systems out there, or you have tons of database information or data sitting there, you need to back up those data. And how do you back up? Well, there are of course many softwares that are out there that are offered by many different vendors that perform the backup on your system. Some of them are Commvault, Veeam, NetBackup, Tivoli, and many, of course, many other technologies that are out there. So, everyone, there we have a whole list of other IT jobs. And I have covered pretty much every component that IT has and every job that you could find in IT. I believe I have covered from anywhere from 90 to 95% of the jobs that are out there. Of course, I want you to review every job, look into the job description, what the job requirement is, and see if that is the right fit for you. If it is not, you could go to the second technology or second component and see if that works. Find out what are the job requirements. Find out what are the job hours, whether it requires you to work overtime, whether it requires you to work over the weekend. If that's something you don't want, then don't do it. Find out which job pays the most. Find out which job pays the least. There's so many different scenarios you could find out. But I have listed all those jobs titles that would be much easier for you to find those jobs. So, I wanted to finish my course here. I really hope, guys, that you have learned IT, what are the different components IT, how those components work, how you could find jobs in those IT fields. If you have any questions after this course, please do not hesitate to send me an email or send me a comment. I would love to have a positive feedback, and I would love to have honest feedback from you guys. So I hope and I wish you all the best in your future. Thank you. If you want to learn more about Linux, check out my best-selling course on Linux at udemy.com, or you could go straight to my website utclisolutions.com and you will find the exact same course there.